Time to introduce you to my new 2022 KTM 1290 Super Adventure R. What's up my biker friends, welcome back to another video. I have a new bike for the 2023 season. This is the 2022 KTM 1290 Super Adventure R, which I got late last year. I've made a few changes to it, also it looks quite different, so I'm going to take you through all the changes and talk to you about all the accessories that I put on the bike that came from the other bikes that are new to this bike, so stay tuned. So guys, I picked a really shitty day. It was not raining when I left. It's just a little bit of a drizzle coming down. It's been a pretty cold spring so far, so I haven't been riding much. So guys, here she is, the 2022 KTM 1290 Super Adventure R. You can see obviously this is not the original color scheme. The original color scheme is that blue, white, orangey look, which looks nice, but I wanted something different, so this is what it is. This design is made by Moto Design Studio. That's a place in the US. So I had to get it shipped across the Atlantic, including all the customs you have to pay. Took them a while to ship it. Waited a good 4 weeks for it. But, you know, looking through the market, this was the design that I really liked a lot. And I just installed it just a few days ago for the season. You could also notice that these are not the original side panels. I actually got gray and black panels from the S model because I didn't want the blue color to shine through. Most of these graphics, they're cut to fit, but there's always a part that shines through, and I had another set on there which is also a white color, and the blue came through and it just didn't look nice, so I got these panels. Also, if I'm taking the bike off-road and if I crash on those panels, I can save the original ones if I ever wanted to sell this bike again. So I think it looks quite nice. Obviously one of the first things I had to do was the exhaust system. This time it's an Ergo exhaust. I had a Krapovic before that on the previous models. This is my third KTM now. And there's a reason why I picked this one. I think it looks a lot better than the Krapovic. It's a lot bigger, and I also like the idea that it's a full titanium body. So when this bike goes down, hopefully the body will withstand a bit more abuse. The first thing that's going to go, I'm sure, is the heat shield made out of carbon. That's the first thing that's going to touch the ground, so I don't think it's going to stay that nice for very long. Also, it sounds pretty cool. I think it sounds better than the Krapovic. I heard the Krapovic and the Ergo. This sounds nice, it looks nice. It was quite a bit cheaper too, so for me that was a no-brainer to go with Ergo this time. For you hooligans out there, there's a DB eater that you can take out pretty easily. It's just a single screw and you can take it out. Of course, it's not street legal anymore when you do that. Of course, I had to try it, and yeah, it's quite a bit louder, but I will keep it street legal and keep the DB eater in for the time being. But it's an option, you know, if you're not happy with the sound, and you know, if you want to take it off-road and you want to take it out, if you're not on public streets, at least you have the option with this one, which you do not have with the Krapovic. I'm just going to go from back to front. This is from Perun Moto, I think it was. It's a new sort of luggage rack. The original one is quite a bit smaller. I needed a bit more surface. I packed my sort of cameras and drones in the back here. So this one was pretty good if I ever wanted to install top case and stuff, which I probably won't, but if I want to, this has all the options and pre-drilled holes to fit sort of the most common manufacturers. And you know, as I will be traveling with this, this is a good addition to have. The seat is also a Powerparts seat. This is I think the comfort seat. Honestly, I don't think it's that much difference than the original seat. It looks a little nice. It's got the orange stitching and stuff, and you know, the fabric's a little different. But from the seating comfort, the original wasn't bad to start with, so it's not really a must-have. It's just something I wanted to try out and see if it's different, and then I just decided to keep it. There's also a lower version of this available that supposedly sits a centimeter lower. I tried that. It didn't really work for me. Also, the cushioning was pretty hard, and it didn't really make a huge difference. So this is the original height from the original bike, just the Powerparts seat. There's a few things here that I've had on the previous bikes too. So I'm going to start with the Schaal navigation mount, which fits from the older model to the current models, which I was quite surprised to see. It didn't say on the website, so I just had to try it out, and it works. So this is for my current Garmin unit, and it's, you know, it's pretty sturdy, that sort of milled metal piece rather than having the plastic piece on it, so I quite like that. You will likely have seen this one. This is a Touratech phone mount with the wireless charging that I DIY'd. I think I did a video on that one as well. So it's coming back on the bike. I'm bringing the Touratech mirrors. These are flip-up mirrors, so when the bike crashes, they won't break. They're quite affordable, so even if they do break, they'll be cheap to replace. Now, of course, there are other options out there, but I like this design, I like the flip-up design. You know, it's easy to get them out of the way and put them back into place again if you're riding off-road. You'll also notice that I have these sort of GoPro mounts now on both sides. This obviously is where my GoPro lives, on the left-hand side, and this is for the Skydio drone remote control that goes here. If you've seen other videos of mine, you see the levers for brake and clutch. These I've had on the 1290 Super Adventure S from 2018, so this is the third bike they're coming onto. I really like those. Of course, they flip up, which is quite nice. They're adjustable from the length, and also the width is pretty easy to adjust with that orange little lever. So I really like those. They came back on the bike again. The next thing that I have is the handguards. Now, there's, I guess, two different kinds of schools on handguards and what to use in handguards. I tried the sort of sturdy ones, so the bark buster style. I think I got the ones from SW-Motech, and they were so extremely heavy that I didn't really like to put them on the bike. Now, these are made out of plastic. They are definitely more sturdy than the original, the 2021 series and up. They come with not really handguards, they're more like wind protection. The older model still had somewhat of a decent handguard that you can take off-road, and it will take a few crashes until it would break. This is supposed to be a bit more sturdy. It's still plastic. I like that better than having sort of full metal bar on here, because it has a little bit more give when the bike comes down, and it should then pop back into place. I got the extra wind protectors on here. Now, if we move on, you see this windshield is actually not from the R model. This is the S model windshield. It came like that because I didn't buy this bike new. This is the first bike I bought used again after buying two new bikes. This was slightly used. It came with this windshield. It's actually quite nice. If you remember some of my older videos, my old bike, I had the racing screen, and it's in its lowest position. It's about the same height as this screen, but it's quite a bit wider. So for touring, that's quite nice, but it stays out of the way when you're riding in the standing up position. So you're not hitting sort of the windshield if you're moving around on the bike. So I'm going to keep this for a little while, give it a try, see if I like that. This is obviously the obvious Protektor. This is just something cheap that I got. If I take it off-road, it takes sort of the big sort of rocks out of the way. It's easy to remove. If you want to clean your headlight, there are different sort of kinds of headlight protectors. There's these full plastic ones, which I think are hideous. So I like this better. Also, if I don't like it, it's easy to remove. Also, what I did, that's what I did with my previous bike, and you can't really see, I put some sort of transparent sort of screen protector type foil on it. So it gives more protection if you have like gravel coming up and it hits the headlight. The headlights are pretty expensive, so if you start damaging those, it'll take, you know, some of that damage away. And when I had the old bike and I sold it, I had the same sort of plastic on there, and I took it off and the headlight looked like new. So it's a good thing to have. You'll notice the SW-Motech Fog Lights. Also, they're coming from my very first KTM. The lights are still the same. Now, what SW-Motech doesn't do is have a specific mount for this bike yet. I don't know why this bike's been on the market for long enough. So what I did do is I bought the sort of original sort of plastic mounts for the original sort of Powerparts light the KTMs make, and then I did a DIY solution here to mount the SW-Motech lights to original mount. It's pretty rigid. Also, what I like, it's kind of recessed now, so it's not protruding out to the side. It's kind of recessed in the back. So I like this quite a bit, but I had to kind of come up with a solution to mount it. You see, there's these metal plates, and you know, you have to kind of be a bit creative to do some of the stuff. So I wrapped the crash bars again, like I did with the previous model. Just kind of prevents it from scratches. Also takes a bit of the orange away. I like orange as an accent color, but you know, if the crash bars are black, kind of like that a little better. So it took a while to do this here, but I had some time in the winter to do it. The next thing you're going to notice is the new bash plate. Now, it took a while to find the right bash plate for it. Now, it came with the original one, which is quite thin, so it won't really do the trick. And if you look at all the other bash plates on the market, this is by Outback Motortek, and these guys have actually managed to mount most of the mounting points not to the engine itself. Now the engine nowadays on most modern bikes are a structural member of the bike, so they don't have a frame here, those bikes, where you can attach it, so you kind of run out of space to attach a bash plate if you don't want to attach it straight to sort of the engine casing. All the other sort of aftermarket bash plates will mount the bash plate to its original mounting points, which is on the engine body. This one will not. So you see there's a bracket, and it attaches to the crash bar, so it gives other mounting points. You see in the back here is that mounting point from the original Powerparts bash plate, and it's using the crash bar and the crash bar mounts. Of course, they mount to the engine case as well, but they also mount to the frame, and then the rear part is mounted to the footrest mount. So I think that's a bit of a smart design. Also, it's a bit more sturdy. You can see it's thicker aluminum. Not sure if this is 3 or 4 mil of aluminum, and that should protect the bike quite a bit better. So frame protectors. These are KTM original Powerparts. Thanks to Stefan from the KTM rental place in Hamburg. He actually sent these over. They had a few left over, and he sent me these as a gift, which is quite nice. So they've done a bit better job with this because it just kind of clips on nowadays, and there's a bit of space in between the actual plastic part in the frame, so it won't hopefully scratch as much as it did with the original ones from the older model. Footrests, these I've had on the R model as well. They are just a bit wider. Rally foot pegs, which is nice if you're riding in the standing position, traveling with it. This time this is the brake lever, so it's got this whole flip-up design, because when you crash the bike, this is the first thing that will bend. So hopefully this will do the trick, that it sort of bends up a little bit and won't break. I haven't tried it yet, but this is new. I didn't have that on the R model that I had before. So then I got these, the shifter lever here. This got the same idea, that it will move out of the way when the bike drops. And it's now transferred from my original 2018 1290 Super Adventure S to this bike, to the third bike now. And it's done a good job so far, so it's coming back onto the bike. Okay guys, this concludes a little tour of the bike. This is really not the weather be out here, but I hope you got an idea what the bike looked like. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, ride safe and stay awesome.